Okay guys, so we're at the juicy part, right? The part you've been waiting on. Astral travel, astral projection is when your soul leaves your body. Rather, some people can do it while they're awake. Some people can only do it while they're at a sleep state. So in my case, I go to sleep. I unwillingly travel. But a lot of people can do it through meditation while they're awake, and a lot of people practice this technique. I don't think it's evil. I do think you got to watch where you travel. I personally would not dabble in it. However, I know people that are very good with God who actually does travel, and you know, they're at a very positive level, and that's a good thing. People that are witchy, people that are on a lower spiritual vibration who try this, they're going to see a lot of demons, devil, bad things, bad entities, things on lower levels. I don't suggest you do it until your mind's corrected, and I will not sit here and tell you how to do it because I can't. I couldn't even teach my best friend. It's just something that's came natural to me. So again, when I go to sleep, I notice it when I fall asleep fast. So say I'm, you know, up and doing 1,000 things and just da-da-da-da-da-da, and then I wear down and I just crash. I'm tired and I go to sleep. I have one almost every time that I fall asleep fast. Seldomly will I have it, say, at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. Say I go to bed at 10. I usually will have it at 10:30, you know, or like 10:15, right there when I fall asleep. Seldomly do I have them at like 3 in the morning, but that does happen to where I do have them, you know, at a crazy time after I've been asleep for a while. So scientifically, I can't really find any reasoning for it other than possibly falling asleep too fast. Your body, and in meditation, your body gets very comfortable. You got to find that state of peace within you, a complete alignment. And when you're tired, you know, you are, I mean, completely relaxed. So when that happens, there's a detachment there. There is a, anytime you can notice that your higher self can notice your breathing, your calm and peacefulness, when it imagines, your mind starts to imagine and work, that separates, whether you know it or not, that's separating your physical body from your soul body. And so I feel like that's why mine's coming so frequently when I sleep. So yes, I do know that I could probably do this awake. I mean, but I choose not to. Okay, so when your soul leaves your body, I said in a previous video, you actually come out of body. So my body, say, is laying here on this couch. I can look at my body. When I come up out of my body, I can look back and see myself laying there. So when I'm out of body, I could stand there and look back at myself and see myself laying there. I try not to look at that because it's creepy. You know, my body gets cold. When I travel, I've had relationships, you know, with people, loved ones, you know, significant others that are used to me. They know when I'm out of body. And I'll tell you, like if my legs, like if, I don't even know how to explain it. If I'm asleep and your leg's touching my leg or your hand's on my leg, to know I'm out, my body turns ice cold, and I get goosebumps, huge goosebumps, but then the hair on my legs stick up and they're very hard, like, you know what I mean, like a porcupine or whatever. So anytime that happens, whoever I'm with, you know, or whoever's around me, even my children will shake me because they're like, they know. That is a sure sign I'm out of body and I'm not here anymore. You know, I'm done. My soul's done left. I'm not paralyzed. I'm not stuck. My soul's out and I'm wandering somewhere and I'm not here. At that state is when my body will be cold, and then I don't breathe very well. Very shallow breathing. And like just, you know, breath periodically. I'm not breathing like I should. And so a lot of times they'll shake me if they see me like that, because I've asked them to, you know. Most of the time I don't want to travel, and you know, I'm like, just wake me up, because guess what, I'm tired, I gotta work in the morning, I don't want to be out soul traveling all night, I have to get my sleep. And to be honest with you, you're not sleeping when you're out there traveling. You're just not. Your mind's fully awake, and it's draining. So that is how my physical body appears when I'm traveling. When I'm out there, I can look back and I could see, you know, who's in the room. I know I could walk into the back of the room and know what they're doing in the back of the room, and my body's still here laying here, and I could tell them exactly what they were doing. Sometimes I think that's why people that are close to me, my children, and people that are around me know there's no way she could have knew what she was dead dog sleeping in there, and she knew what I was doing back here, you know. The deal is that I have a hard time staying walking. And that's because I've never practiced, I'm sure. I've heard people tell me, you know, you need to meditate, you need to do this, and then you're going to be able to control this. Well, I don't have much control. Sorry, my mouth's always dry. It's winter time. But anyway, so I don't have much control, and I float. Like, I will float up through the ceiling. Sometimes I'd bounce like a balloon off the ceiling. I could tell you many situations where I got stuck in between walls. It's easier to go out a window. I know I sound crazy, but it's the dead's honest truth. And so I question myself sometimes. I still kind of do. Like, what are we made out of? What is our soul made out of? Because I'm traveling through a wall, you know. So whatever my soul is, it's like an air. It's a light air, you know. When you look at it to be honest, I know that I can't even, I'll get into all that. Sometimes souls appear like ghosts, like in a human form, but the majority of the time, ghosts actually appear as a energy, like I've said it before, that, like gasoline, you know, the fumes off of gasoline, or like the Menage or Manel, I don't even know what it's called, that you see when you're driving on the road and you look in a distance and it looks like water. It's that gassy look. I see that with my own soul. You know, if I look down in my arm or whatever, I'll see that, but I also see it within other souls as well. So you can appear in human form, like I had told you about my Aunt Candy, but you really have to be on a lower vibration to be in human form. Anything higher, you're going to turn into that gassy stuff I tell you about. So it's like, as soon as I go out, there's different dimensions and different levels, and I was going to start these videos and talk to you about what it starts as. You know, as a child I only got here, but now I get here and now I'm here. You know, I'm going to just sum it up in this brief video, and then we'll get into details later. But in summary, from what I've experienced, you know, and there's people that have experienced this as well. I'm not the only person that does this, you know. I think that scientifically there was 30% of, you know, people that have these experiences, and they've actually backed it scientifically now, and proved that, you know, people that do have these is legit telling you the truth, you know. And anyhow, the deal is so when you're walking around here, I still want to float or fly, but for the most part, like when you're here, you're walking in your living room. You're not really flying around your living room. You get out through your window, that's where you could fly. So anytime I try to stay walking, like I've tried to, from my grandma's to my mom's house was just a couple blocks. So I tried to walk from my grandma's to my mom's. I thought, well, if I'm going to be out here traveling, I'm going to go see my mom, and I'm going to tell her what I seen, and then she's going to know that I'm not lying, because I'm going to tell her what she was doing while I was here with my grandma, you know. And I've done that, and I've confirmed it, but it's very hard to do that. I would get maybe a block, and then all of a sudden my mind would just take me somewhere else. Like, or I would travel without seeing where I was going, or I would just fly. You know, staying grounding was hard. I would just like kind of float up. Your one thing you'll notice when you die is your soul is weightless. So you'll not believe how heavy gravity is for you. The feeling of the skin, it is very heavy. It is a burden, honestly, because when you feel the freedom of being weightless, you experience a new form of reality that's unlimiting, you know. This body really limits us. So those are all experiences that are important to mention, because, you know, I kind of forget those things, but they're powerful, because it just feels amazing that you're not held back by pain. You're not held back by the weight of your own body or gravity. So yeah, so basically I would fly a lot at treetop level. I'd find myself like literally flying from one tree to another, and I would like really try hard to watch where I was going, because like I know if I think something, I'll just go. So if I want to go to Tennessee to see my uncle and I think about that, I just go, and I don't see my flight all the way to Tennessee. I'm there, because when you soul travel, your soul travels at the speed, I don't know this exact speed, okay, but your time is sped up out there. You're traveling at the flight of sound, a thought, and you're there. So I did have a situation not so long ago where this boy who'd passed away, I told him I was going to go through this. I'm not going to get too much on the subject because I want to tell you about out of bodies, but I do want to tell you this part. This boy told me not to go through this portal that I've been through 1,000 times, and he's dead, you know, and he's funny. He's cracking me up at this point because we're having a bet, and I'm like, I've been through that 1,000 times, and I'm like thinking to myself, he hasn't been deceased for very long. Maybe he just don't know, you know. And he's challenging me. And he's like, I'm telling you, you can't make it through that portal. There is a storm up there, a cosmic storm in space. And if you go through that, you're going to tumble on your ass. And, you know, I'm like, I've been up there before. So he said, this is why I'm telling you this. He said, you have to be traveling at 10,000 K to get through that. And that was the only time that I've been told a number. And I was like, 10,000 K, okay, what's that mean, you know? Out there, I didn't concept anything. I didn't retain it. I was just like, whatever, I'm going to prove you wrong. And it was almost like a bet, and it was funny. I go through it. I go through this tunnel. I'm going way up, you know, way up. And all of a sudden, I slow down to a halt. Like, it's like, whoo, and then I'm slowing, and then I stop. That's never happened, ever. Okay? And then all of a sudden, it's a free fall. I'm just fast, like jumping out of an airplane, only I'm jumping out of space, you know? And I could actually, what surprised me was I could hear with my ears. I could hear the wind. And, you know, when you're telepathically thinking out there, you're not really hearing noises like that. To hear the wind in my ears was a little bit, it was scary. And I kept thinking, oh God, where does this end? You know, I'm flying free falling. I mean, literally free falling. And when I'm free falling with this wind in my ears, I'm thinking, am I going to fall and stop at Earth? Am I going to crash into my bed and die of, you know, whatever? Or, I didn't know what to expect. And, you know, I've never seen anything lower than Earth. And in the back of my mind, I always know there's hell somewhere. And I was thinking, damn, I hope I stop before I go all the way down, you know? And all this shit's in my mind as I'm free falling. And I didn't go to my bedroom. I stopped at the end of that tunnel or that portal. And he's laughing his ass off at me, you know. I lost the bet, okay? And he's like, I told you so. You were not going to make it up there, and I told you. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm just glad I'm here, you know? And we're laughing about it. 10,000 K. What does that mean, you know? I wrote that down when I woke up. And typically I don't write stuff down, but this was an experience that I was going to relate to someone else, because that person I had seen was actually her child, and I wanted to let her know about it. So I had wrote all this down when I'd woke, and that's the only reason why I retained that information. Otherwise, I would have forgot that number. So you just think for yourself, if he says 10,000 K, and I'm traveling at the speed of you know, barely seeing myself fly, 10,000 miles per second is what I'm assuming. Think about that for a second. 10,000 miles per second is what I'm traveling, soul traveling. That is very true. And I think that's the best way I could relate that to the physical world, is about how fast you're going. Picture yourself doing that. And that's how you travel, okay? It is so fast you don't really see your flight easily unless you're halted like I was. Especially out there, you're not really seeing your flight too much. Here on this lower vibration, you will see your flight more. If you focus on it, you can see yourself fly and enjoy the scenery. It's beautiful, and that's something that I really like to do. So I try to stay in control of my flights, but it's impossible to always do that. So anyhow, that is just some of the information I have as far as out of bodies. Like I said, I could go on for days with this. So I guess what I want to tell you is you travel to speed of sound, light. You think you're there. You talk to other souls with your mind. It's a telepathic communication. There's not a bunch of people talking in a room or anything. It's just one person you're talking to and you hear them. So if you have a whole bunch of entities around you, you're not getting drowned out with messages. You know, one person will directly speak to you, and then you talk to that person. If that person is trying to tell you a story, it's difficult to understand sometimes. So that's why mediums will tell you. They'll say, well, he's showing me an image, you know, or they'll be like, your loved one for Candy, for instance, say a medium was to read Candy here as awake. Say I was doing a reading and Candy comes in the room. Well, she's going to appear to me in pain, and I'm going to see a bullet hole in her shirt. That's not to scare me, and that's not because Candy's trying to say I'm in pain. What that is doing is showing me. I have a lady in the room. She was shot. She has pain in the chest, you know. And it's hard for mediums because we have to see it, but also we feel it because their energy goes through us. So if she's trying to tell me she's in pain, I'm gonna feel a heaviness in my chest when she's in my presence. But not always, you know. That's only if she's trying to tell me her story, or if she wants me to tell somebody her story. I don't see her like that, or, you know, I haven't seen her in a while, but she would grab my hand and we would fly over places, and she'd say it was my birthday and I just don't get out much and I wanted to show you how beautiful this place is. You know, there's a lot of good in her, but when they communicate, that's just how it has to be, and that's how they relay messages to a physical human person. And it took me years to, I'm talking years, like I just started understanding how to read what they're telling me within 5 to 10 years ago. It took years to understand the images they were showing me. They'll show you words too, you know, they'll show you images of words that could make no sense at all, like Sam, and then, I don't know, blue, and then they'll show you a house, and then they'll show you a street sign, and you're thinking, okay, they're trying to show me where they live, but no, really, they're just trying to tell you, hey, my name's Sam, and I like the color blue. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really have to learn, and each soul's different as far as communication, so it depends on what level they're at, to, you know, where they're at in the afterlife. In each level, you're going to understand them differently. There's different ways, you know. Higher up, I feel like they talk more with feeling, more vivid pictures, more vivid affirmations. You know, if I'm higher up at a level near God and they tell me something, I'm seeing it just the way it was. You know, it might not make sense to me why they're showing it to me, but I'm seeing it clearly. Here, sometimes there's a level of distortion. The levels start, what I've experienced is, once you're above treetops, here is earth, here is the trees. You know, you could fly at treetop level. At this level, there's a lot of lost souls. You'll see a lot of, you'll see a lot of evil. You'll see demons here, but you'll also see lost souls, like I just told you. Doesn't mean they're bad. You know, they're reaching out to you like, help me. Because they're dying too soon. They're young kids, or they're even young adults, or, you know, I'm not going to say they're all young, but I'm just saying anybody that dies before they're ready, and they're not accepting to it, and their mind has not, you have to experience on life enough experiences to teach your mind the things you need to know to grow out there. I have recently, like, I know I've brought this up a few times, but this child that had passed away, that is a friend of mine's, he was murdered, and I was scared to look on him. I was scared to call on him because he, I figured he'd be on the treetop level and in a really bad place, you know, and as soon as I said, can I go see him, I thought I would see him for all the images of horrible things that had happened to him just a month prior to this. So I was surprised to see that he was not at treetop level, and he was actually advanced in God's presence. And when I went to him in God's presence, God allowed me to communicate with him, because this boy was willingly wanting to communicate. And he wanted to send messages to his family. But it was so powerful because it's the first time in my life that God had actually showed me the images that he wanted me to see. And he almost pretty much introduced us, and I was in his presence. And like I said, I asked permission, and I almost was granted, after that experience, I was granted a lot of gifts, I feel like, and I've never felt like I've done anything selfishly. I've done it because I want to help people, and I never would ever expect anything, but I was blessed with abundance after I helped this particular case. And I know God's presence was there within that week. I think I made $2,000 worth of sales, and things were going really good for me, and I had to notice that. I mean, I paid a lot of attention to the fact that I know this was God. You know, I've been praying for this and I've been praying for that, and I communicate with you, and I did, you know what I mean? I know you're there, and I just know in my heart that I was blessed, and it was really, it felt good. So I want you guys to know that when people say, don't be dabbling in this stuff, I agree, you don't dabble in it to an extent. If it's there to truly help somebody, or if it comes to you, you got to do what you got to do. It's your life purpose. And if you're there to spread the message, whatever that may be, you do it. I don't care what people think about you. I don't care if they think it's witchy. I don't care, because I know for a fact God wants you to spread his word, God wants you to love, and God wants you to help. And if you can do that, if you can speak for him, he can't come down here and speak. A lot of people can't hear him. There's only a few that can, you know. People that are close with him can hear him and feel him. Not all people they have that, and they have to be taught. A lot of times they're not taught even growing up, you know, and this world's crazy, and you guys already know what I'm getting at with this. So I don't think I'm some kind of, I don't know what they call it, Messiah or something. Like I said, I haven't read much of the Bible. I have seen God myself on numerous occasions, and I've spoke with him, and I know he's there, okay? And I don't know him to like where I would like to know him better, you know. The time with him's brief, but I'm definitely not ready to cross over and get to know him yet, and I still got learning to do here, and I'm here for a purpose. But eventually, yeah, when like the time comes, I can't wait to sit there with him and just talk and be like, wow, like how do you do all this stuff? And I have so many questions, like, you know, I feel like I'm on to so many things, and I get this, and things that are so deep in a mind. You know, we only use a certain percentage of our mind, and my mind's open to so much, and it's almost mind-boggling. A lot of the stuff that I look up right now, I wouldn't even begin to tell you, because you wouldn't understand. But my advancement in my mind level is so far that when I Google something that I have a question about, and as far as spirituality, things come up from like the Matrix, like Einstein's popped up. People that, I am retarded when it comes to school or anything. I have a college degree, but I'm not smart like that, you know what I mean? Book smart, I barely retain anything, and I sure in the heck don't know what Einstein and all them people said with all their laws and Newton and all this shit. But when I look something up that I have a question about, people like them pop up. I can't think of the other guy's name, but he was in a wheelchair, and he had muscular dystrophy. He's a very smart man. He just recently passed away. I forget his name. There was a few of them that popped up. They are on it, okay? I know you guys already know Einstein's smart, right? But I'm telling you, he is on it. They are all on it. These are scientists that all their life try to disprove God. And not just because they're just trying to disprove them, but scientists, what do? They want proof, you know? At the end of both of their careers, right before they died, their ultimate answer is, there's a higher power. There's a higher power. There's no other way around it, and this is why. And if you get into that, and it's deep, because we're talking equations, you know, it's deep, it makes perfect sense. And I'm taught this stuff for a reason, you know? My mind's expanding for a reason. And eventually, it might take a year or two, I'm going to get into all that deep stuff that people that are this advanced, you know, it could help clarify some things for you guys, and maybe help teach me by talking about it. I know as soon as I talk, it makes me feel better, and it opens my mind. And anyway, we'll drop it back down to why we're here. I know I get carried away. There's just so much information. The out-of-body experiences, though, you got this treetop level. Above treetop level, you're going up and you're going into a cosmic area. So you're at like a universe area, like a, you know, universe. Think of it as space. So we're in space at this point. Okay, so you go into darkness and you see the moon. To go to heaven, there is a tunnel, and there's many tunnels, it's not just one. You get in this tunnel, and I know that on my way up this tunnel, which I've been here, on my way up this tunnel, I'm looking out. You can see little cracks in holes in the tunnel. I'm going up at a good, you know, speed, but I'm still going slow enough I can see out the holes. I get up near space, and I'm seeing stars, and I'm seeing the moon. Okay, when you're in space, you're still seeing stars just like you would here. It appears the same. So when you're in space, it's not like you're just, you know, seeing these big old fire rocks or whatever. You're still seeing them at a distance. So that showed my mind, like, really how far stars really are. Because when we were up there in space, they still look like stars. Through this tunnel, all of a sudden it turns daylight. And when you get past the moon and stars in the darkness, it turns daylight. Through these cracks, you're going to see other tunnel systems. They are a vortex in the clouds. So you're up here, you're in clouds, you're in blue clouds, just identical to the sky we see right outside our window. They're just identical. The only difference is occasionally you'll see these little tunnel vortexes, and they almost just look like clouds, you know, clouds that are tunnel shapes, and they're just intertwining. And that's what I seen up there. I get to the end of the tunnel. This grouchy old man, I call him a grouchy old man, but thank God he saved me in my life. He sent me back and told me I went too far. I'm trying hard not to get into stories, you know, like I would rather just tell you what my locations are. So I'll do all the stories later. But when he sent me down, he was actually upset that I'd went that far. My body wasn't breathing at home, and I knew it wasn't. You know, I didn't have any time, and it was bad. It was bad, real bad. I don't know how I accidentally got in this tunnel. I don't know. I just know I got in this tunnel, and I was judged, and the guy said, "Why do you keep wandering so far? Why should I let you go back?" And my answer was, I have a 2-year-old son at home, and he's very sick. I didn't get to mention the other kids that I had. I didn't get to mention anything, because that was the first thought in my mind to answer him with, because that's how I felt. I knew my son needed me at home. I knew I was getting ready to die. I just went too far. My body at home was literally not breathing, and I recognized that. When I was up through this tunnel, I recognized that my body at home was not breathing. I had seconds, and he pushed me down with such force. His hand, he was in human form. He looked like a human. He pushed me down with a force so hard, I'm just flying through this tunnel. I get into my living room, and I remember it was Christmas time because I had Christmas lights up. I was in the living room sleeping on a pull-out bed because I didn't have heat in the back of the house. That's how bad it was at that time. And so we were in the living room with blankets all over the place and trying to keep warm by this fire. And when I came in the living room, I came through the sky, through the ceiling, and I'm still tumbling. You know, he threw me so hard that all I'm just seeing is like the lights from the tree and the lights from the Christmas decorations. I'm just seeing it, and I'm just seeing this light, and I knew I'm in my living room, but my body or my soul was just tumbling head over foot, head over foot, head over foot, and I could see my body laying on this bed, but my soul's still tumbling at the speed that I couldn't connect into my body. It was a very, very time-sensitive situation. I had to get in my body. I got in my body, and when I did, I could not barely move. When I got in my body and I woke up my eyes and I moved my finger barely, I knew, okay, I'm not out of body, I'm not paralyzed, I can move. Yet my energy was so drained that I couldn't hardly physically get up. And I knew in my mind, I gotta force myself up, or I'm just gonna go straight back out there. And that would be an awful thing. So oh my gosh, I ended up getting in body, and I wake myself up, and I'm moving, and I'm barely getting up, and then boom, I connected. I'm awake now. I go to the bathroom, I'm walking, I take water, and I splash it on my face. You know, I'm trying to get woke up, splashing my face with water. And then I could feel every single nerve in my body shock. I felt a shocking sensation in every nerve in my head, my face, my arms, my feet. Everything in my body was connecting. And it was crazy. It was just insane. So that was a near-death experience for me. I'm so lucky that I didn't die. I don't know why I went so far. It was unwillingly. I learned from it, yes. I was apologetic for it. I realized that I could be judged for this traveling. I prayed to God and told him, you know, I'm sorry. This isn't something I do on my own. It is what it is. So that is the higher place I'm telling you about. There is also another world like ours, another dimension that looks like ours. There's people there. They know us. In space, when I tell you it's black, there is a bunch of different portals in space. If you go through them portals, you're going to end up in another dimension. I will not go through them unless I unwillingly, accidentally do it. I stumbled across something I didn't mean to stumble across. Once I get familiar with that area, then that's okay. I will travel there again. But I don't do that because of that experience that I just told you about. I know that I've seen God at the higher levels. And if I think of him, or if I really want to see him and beg to see him, or if I ask for help, sometimes I'll be attacked by demons even to this day. He will come and save me. I've seen him. He's gave me a sword. He's gave me a staff. He's gave me everything. And I can get into all that. I promise you with all of my heart and soul on my children's life right now, I promise you that I've seen God. And this is not in my head. It's not something that I'm dreaming or this girl's done lost her mind. I promise you with everything in me, he's there. And so the deal is now I'm trying to figure out where, I guess I'm going to level out what's this dimension and what's this, and how do these people know us, and why does only some people get this high but other people go here. And I just have a lot of questions as far as the universe. Time's different there, and I gotta go because I'm at 32 minutes. I do want to make a point that there is differences in time, which is crazy. Actually, it's too advanced to get into this video, but the time there, like, say you have a fishing pole and you're fishing here, okay? Say we go fishing, you're throwing your fishing pole. You know how the end of your fishing pole will wiggle, you know? It'll vibrate. So if you slam that pole really, really hard, that vibration is going to be really, really fast. If you do it fast enough, that vibration, you won't see it. There's a point in time when you can't see something with your human eyes, or you can't hear something with your human ears. And that's because at certain decimals, you cannot hear it anymore. But dogs can, you know? Or just like the fishing pole scenario, if it shakes hard enough and it's shaking so fast, you cannot see it with your physical eye. This level of realm, they're operating on this fast of a pace.